Alrighty, so today we're going to take a look at the DJI FPV goggles version 2. Now these were just released a couple of weeks ago. We finally got them in our hands and they are finally in stock at DroneWorks. So if you're interested, there's a link down below. Now a lot of you probably have questions about these goggles and wondering whether or not you should upgrade from your version 1s. And to answer that question right off the bat, no. You shouldn't upgrade if you have the version 1 goggles. However, if you are thinking about crossing over into digital, or starting FPV and you just want to skip analog altogether, then yes, the version 2 goggles would be your best choice, but not for the obvious reasons of improvement. Let's get started. What's good, everybody? Ken here, you're watching Original Dobo. Today we're going to take a deep dive into the DJI FPV goggles version 2. I've had the version 1 goggles for about 8 months, and honestly, they are my favorite goggles. Well, obviously they have to be because they're the only thing that run digital FPV beyond SharkBite. So let's go ahead and open this box up, see what you get inside, because there are some little differences between the version 1 goggles that we'll discuss in this video. So I actually already went ahead and took the tape off this. So we'll go ahead and open this up, get a accessory pouch in the top here. And there's the goggle here and there's nothing else inside the box. So this is the goggles and they look identical to the version 1 goggles. So if you had version 1s, you're not missing anything aesthetically. And what's funny about these goggles is the fact that when I had Drew on my stream a couple of months ago, I asked him, I said, you know, I'm really excited. Hopefully that version 2 goggles would look different. And I think he sort of outed the fact that they were gonna look identical to the version 1. So, all right, so there, we'll go ahead and set these goggles off to the side. All right, let's see what we got in the accessory pouch. So accessory pouch, pretty familiar for if you have V1s, this is the same deal. We have a pouch for the goggles. I never use that. We have the strap, which this strap goes over the top of your head. I was never really a fan of this strap. So I will probably end up discarding that because I'm not gonna use it. We do get a battery now with this goggle, which I think is pretty cool. We didn't get a battery with the first one, which I think a lot of people were like sort of scratching their heads at that. So what do we have here? So this is the new battery and it is a secondary lithium ion power bank, 1800 milliamp hour battery. So that's actually not terrible because I've been using these. Most importantly, I've been using this. This is an 1800 milliamp hour battery. So you can see the difference in size. This is a LiPo 1800 4S battery and this is an 1800 what I believe is a 2S battery here. Charges via USB-C, so that's actually pretty cool. Seems to have a little bit of a charge, not much, but we'll test that out here in a minute. So I'll set these down back here. So cool, you get a battery inside there. You get your standard cable. Now this cable is going to be a little bit different. Ooh, that could make people mad. You got a barrel connector that goes to the goggles, and then you get a USB-C cable that goes down to the battery itself. So let's see if there's another cable in here. I hope there is. I hope there's another cable. What is this? Nope, that's not. Ooh, that could piss some people off. I mean, I guess it's cool you get a battery to get started, but if you have a shit ton of LiPos and you want to use a LiPo, you're not gonna have another connector. These are the antennas, by the way. So the antennas look pretty much the same as version 1 antennas. No difference. Still that same crazy Ant-Man style. Nothing else in the box. You get a USB-C to USB, and that's probably gonna be to do the software, so yeah. Alrighty, so a couple of things. What I would recommend doing if you are going to pick up yourself a set of these goggles here is to go ahead and do some upgrades straight out of the gate. This pleather foam really sucks to fly on. I'll go ahead and bring my version 1 goggles up here. So these are the version 1 goggles, and I went ahead and changed the foam out to, it's more of a softer foam, but also what this does is also stops light leaks as well. It's just a lot more comfortable on your face. It also keeps the screen a little bit further away from your face and gives you a little bit more headroom with the IPD adjustments. So that's something to keep in mind. I would highly recommend this foam. It's like 15 bucks. But it is absolutely worth it. By the way, I've had this foam on here for 8 months. So if you're worried about the foam being, destroyed, it's very durable. And I've had this in and out of bags and everything, 8 months time. It doesn't smell as pleasant as when I first got it, but yeah, 8 months that's lasted. So I would get rid of this stuff, which I did go ahead and purchase some upgrades. So the first thing I usually do is, like I said, I get the foam and then I also get a strap. So for my strap, I'm just gonna use a fat strap because that's just what I'm used to. But I wanna go ahead and take a look at what they have said about the HDMI out. So supposedly there's HDMI out on these, but it's not direct, like you can't just connect it to a TV type of thing, that you're supposed to connect it to an app. I don't know if it's gonna connect to the Fly app. My suspicion is it's gonna connect to the Fly app. I don't know if that's actually functioning or not. So we'll have to test that out because I know that was one of the biggest gripes that a lot of people had, was that there was no HDMI out on these goggles unless you had a smart controller, which a smart controller is like $700. Not everybody that flies FPV is gonna wanna have a smart controller. So let me go ahead and get these set up and bound to an FPV drone, and then we'll be right back. All right, so there looks like there is a new assistant. I'll go ahead and download this package. And this was released on 1/20, so probably about the same time these goggles were released. So in order to activate these, you are gonna need the new DJI Assistant to go ahead and do so. So we'll go ahead and activate these in just a second. So I was able to go ahead and activate the new goggles. Now, the first thing you need to do before you can even activate these or connect it to a computer is you do have to download the latest assistant for FPV. Now, the latest assistant version is 2.1.0, and you can get that from the website, and I'll be sure to include a link because I kept Googling for it and I kept coming up with an outdated version. So I'll be sure to include a current version in the description below if you want to check that out. Now, it was showing that there was a firmware update available for the goggles, but when I tried to download and transfer it to the goggles, it kept failing. It would never actually send the transmission. It would physically download it, but it would never transmit it to the goggles. So I thought, well, maybe it needs an SD card in there. Put an SD card in there, still wasn't working. I said, all right, well, let me try a Windows machine. I had my main editing rig, wouldn't even open the DJI FPV Assistant. So I said, well, maybe it's my computer, maybe it's the firewall or whatever the case is. So I have another Windows laptop around here, downloaded Assistant, tried firing it up, and it still wouldn't work. So there's definitely something happening with Assistant, at least on Windows devices. It won't even launch, and it's not actually transmitting the files over to the goggles. So that's something that hopefully maybe DJI can address. And if any of you have got your goggles and experienced the same thing, maybe you can comment down below and let me know if you found a fix for it. But let's go ahead with the magic of editing, go ahead and take these out for a test ride. We're not gonna get like really crazy. There's a lot of people today, but I do wanna go to the far end of the field here, away from all these people.
30 seconds.
Okay, so far our signal's still holding up. Signal's still good.
20, 19,
Not really
18,
noticing any drops.
17,
That's good.
16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11.
All right, I get it. I forgot to reset you.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
All right, just taking it easy, not doing anything crazy or stupid here.
Timer 1 elapsed.
Let's come underneath these trees, get a little pixelation. Nothing crazy. Pretty good. All right, let's see if we give it a little rip. So far so good. I'm not saying I had issues out of the V1 goggles, and I didn't. Never had issues. Man, it is windy today. A lot of soft targets out here. Little prop wash I'm getting. Hopefully that's tuned out next week. All right, I've seemingly scared the old man away. so far. I really can't break this one. I only got one quad with me right now. So far, so good. It's a board. All right, let's try this out. V1. All right, so I'm on channel 6, which was the best channel. And I'm just gonna take the same path, staying low, provided nobody's on the trail. And so far, not dropping signal yet. Signal's still good. No pixelations. Let's see. Nope. No signal drop. Oh, there it is. 3 bars right there on that turn. That same turn, I got 3. I've always had issues on that end of the field. Is my head doing that whole Stevie Wonder thing? Probably is. Okay. So we got a little bit of loss of signal out there. And it's windy. All right, so, I mean, so far, I mean, not seeing incredible differences. Let's drive this way. Let's fly over here. We'll take it through the trees. I'm getting some pixelation, which through these branches here, I've always struggled. See right there, it dipped for a second. I noticed more fluctuation. See, I'm now 3 bars. So 3 bars, 3 bars, 3 bars, still. Oh, scraggle. Let's see if it picks back up here. Ooh, it is windy. All right, I went back to full bars here. Alrighty, so from my test and just my experience briefly with these goggles, I don't notice a massive enough difference between these two. Now I know some people are going to complain because this is not a one-to-one test, because these have true RC antennas and they also have the patch antennas. Would they perform slightly better or would they perform slightly worse? And I would think with these upgrades, it would perform slightly better than the V2s. But in the testing that I did, I found that I was holding my signal much longer and I never once saw the signal drop. Now, I did no FCC hack to this one. The FCC hack has been done to these goggles. So I won't tell you what the milliwatts that I was running on, but it was different than the maximum on here. So I don't know. I mean, is it worth upgrading to the V2s? I think in a way they are. I mean, for me specifically, I do have a dead pixel inside the goggles on these. On the left-hand side, it's like a hot pixel. I don't know if it's a dead pixel, but there's like a hot spot in the LCD. So for me, it's an absolute must to upgrade because it drives me nuts and I have to send these in for repair from DJI. But if you have the V1 goggles, you just got the V1 goggles, I don't see any point in upgrading. But if you are getting into FPV or you're looking to convert to digital, then these are absolutely the best option you can go with. And I would totally skip over the V1s just because it seems like there is some slight improvements. The refresh rate of 144 Hertz is noticeable, especially when you are ripping past trees, branches, things like that. You can notice that. Now, they say that the resolution is a little bit greater on these goggles. However, I can't notice any negligible differences between the two as far as resolution goes. They both look great. They are the best digital experience that is going to be available, hands down. Now, I also want you to take into account that on my drones, I do use the Caddx Vista. So that could have a little bit to do with any sort of discrepancies you may see from my test to somebody else's test as far as the bit rate, the dropping, etc. So it's never going to be a one-to-one, unfortunately, in FPV, but yeah, pretty happy with it. I think that these are pretty solid. I would have liked to seen a little bit thinner, smaller, more svelte goggle, but you know, I'll take this. And I guess at the end, if you are planning on getting that new FPV drone, you're probably going to want to get these goggles. And again, we'll have to wait to see how that HDMI out is going to work on these, because I couldn't figure it out by plugging in a USB-C to it. It was not functioning. So yeah, there you go. I'm sort of out of breath. That was fun. Very windy today. Very, very windy. But if you want to get a set of these goggles for yourself, we have limited quantities available at DroneWorks. There will be a link in the description below. We are making a valid effort to make sure we stock more FPV components, parts, ESCs, motors, flight controllers, and frames. We're going to start stocking all of that stuff so it'll be readily available. Ships from Florida. Yeah, there you go. That's like where everything FPV is coming from nowadays. All right, guys, if you have any questions, I'll be in the comments section for a little bit. Otherwise, stay original. We'll see you next time.